Episode 6. This is for every person who's felt stuck creatively, out of ideas, don't know how to make progress. Today we're going to talk about how to come up with great ideas just about any time you want one. Welcome back, jerks. This is about brainstorming. Don't get me wrong, ideas are overrated. Meaning we've got way too many ideas and so few of us can actually pull anything off and bring it to life. However, when you do have good ideas to start with, it provides a ton of energy, it's good momentum, it's a really nice place to start. Now, brainstorming is lateral thinking. It's shallow. It's not very deep. You win with volume. It's intended to get you out of your normal ways of thinking. It breaks down bad assumptions. It helps you expand the limits of your problem solving. There are two different phases of brainstorming that produce three different outcomes. 23, Michael Jordan, Last Dance. Two different phases, out and up. First, you got to get the ideas out. Then you got to clean the ideas up. That results in three different outcomes. These outcomes of brainstorming can fall into three different buckets, three different categories. The first one is good. The idea is good, and you can use it with maybe very little refinement. The second category is getting there. The idea is getting there, meaning it needs a little bit of cleanup, or it's going to help you get to another idea. Third category would be go away. This idea is bad, it's terrible, let's never speak of it again. Or sometimes it's not that bad, but it's just not the right idea for this project. Two phases, out and up. Three categories, good, getting there, go away. Check out this grid. This is how your ideas will break down when you're going through the process. In phase one, this get the ideas out, get them all on paper, put them all on the table. Probably 50% of your ideas are going to fall into that good category, meaning you generally offered them up because you thought that's a pretty good idea. 25% or so will fall into that getting there category, and 25% or so will fall into that go away, phase one. Phase two, you're probably going to have about 10% that end up in the good category, 15% in the get in there category, and then 75% in the go away, meaning not good, terrible, or not right for this particular problem we're trying to solve. I want to encourage you at the end of a brainstorming session to make sure you filter these ideas down and you only keep about 10% of them. You might hold on to some of these in the get in there category for later, but generally, good ideas, hold on to about 10% of them, force yourself to filter so you only take the very best. Many of us have heard there are no bad ideas in brainstorming. That is so wrong. There are tons of bad ideas in brainstorming. In fact, there are some techniques where you actually intentionally come up with bad ideas. More accurate is don't criticize those bad ideas in the midst of brainstorming. If you do, you lose a whole category of ideas. You lose the entire getting there category. You'll put all ideas in the that's pretty good or go away, that one's terrible. But you'll lose that section where the ideas are meant to get you to the next idea, or the ideas are meant to provide a space where you can actually do some development and refinement and actually turn it into a good idea. I want to get practical. There are lots of different techniques to apply to brainstorming. Let's walk through a few of them, and then we'll actually go through an exercise together to help you understand how this works. When people get together and brainstorm, often it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. Fine, that way works, can work. It's maybe not the best way to do it. Some of the more specific techniques would be using something like now and then. This is a classic technique where you talk about where you are now, where you'd like to be then, however long that's going to be, and then have people focus specifically on what it takes to fill that gap to get from now to then. Reverse brainstorming. Instead of solving problems, cause problems. Come up with ideas on how to cause and create problems. This is a really fun technique, and if you actually understand how the problem is created, you have a much more heightened sensitivity about how to solve it going forward. Another technique is the starburst. Put your problem right in the middle of a 6-pointed star, and each of these points is a question you're going to answer. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Pretty standard, right? So let's say you're a business owner and the problem is, how are we going to get this new business? What's the new business that we want to get? Who do we need to talk to? When and where is that going to happen? What are we going to talk about? And how is this plan going to come together? If you brainstorm with a little structure around specificity, it can often help. Another technique is to be intentionally terrible in the ideas that you come up with. Let's say the problem we were trying to solve was, who's going to be the spokesperson for our company? Well, what if your idea was, we should get the CEO of our biggest competitor to be the spokesperson for our company? That is a terrible idea. Really, really bad. You should definitely not do that. Somebody might be like, well, we should get a dog as the spokesperson. Here's what it does to come up with intentionally bad ideas. It releases people to feel like, got it. Nothing is off limits. I'm safe. Now I can freely just let ideas roll. My very favorite technique when it comes to brainstorming is called the buffet. So you start with the problem you're trying to solve. Let's say our problem is we wanted to name a new product that our company was offering. So you look at the product and then you come up with qualities, characteristics, or themes that come to mind immediately when you look at the product or you understand how it works. Step 1. Step 2 is you take that list that you just created and you expand the list. So for each quality or characteristic or theme you came up with, you expand it so it becomes more robust. That's step 2. Step 3 then is you start taking elements or concepts from each of the different lists you just made and start connecting them creatively to come up with new thoughts, new angles, or new directions about how to think about naming your product or solving your problem. I actually want to walk through this specific technique together. I think it'll be helpful. I was online, Instagram. I was looking at the hashtag Corona cuts because I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't had my hair cut for a couple months. I know I look very polished and well-groomed, but it's not good. But when I was looking at Corona cuts, I was just looking at really funny haircuts that people have resorted to giving themselves. And I thought, oh, this would be perfect. So I actually grabbed about 5 or 6 of these pictures and I said, let's pretend we were going to name these different haircuts. So that was the problem we were trying to solve. Come up with a name for this particular haircut. I want to show you how when we apply the buffet brainstorming technique, what it looks like. First picture. So when you see this, the qualities, characteristics, or themes that instantly come to mind. Here's the first thing I think of. Convertible. Just roll with it, okay? Second thing I think of. Redhead. Next I think of, because there's that little arrow on the side of his head. It reminded me of a stripe that would be on the arm of a uniform of somebody in the military. So then I thought, okay, sergeant. So you've got convertible, you've got redhead, and you've got sergeant. So then I expand each of those lists, right? Convertible, I think drop top, cruisin', Myrtle Beach, Mustang, West Coast. See what I'm doing? Step 2, I start expanding that list. Redhead, so I expand that list. Freckles, fire, Guinness, Scotland, Emma Stone, or just whatever comes to mind. I'm starting to build out these lists so they become more robust. Sergeant, military, stripes, private, general, sniper, boot camp. So now I've got a list. I've got my main themes, characteristics that I came up with. I expanded the list. And then when I start creatively connecting them all, I do something like this. Okay, how about Emma Stone's Myrtle Beach boot camp? That haircut is called Emma Stone's Myrtle Beach boot camp. Done. Make sense? So we're creatively connecting new connections so we can actually come up with these new concepts, new themes, new ideas to solve our problems. Okay, next picture. So qualities, characteristics, and themes that instantly come to mind. Here's the first thing I think of. Bowl cut, right? Second thing, cousins. Third thing, this guy's got a lot of volume in his hair. So volume, bowl cut, cousins, volume. I'm going to connect the dots creatively, and I'm going to name this croissant with extra rice. That's the name of that haircut. Number 3. Okay, first thing that pops into my mind. Tic-tac-toe. Braids. It looks like it's a little bit crooked. So we're going to name this haircut hashtag gummy worms. Next. Bangs. Kind of wavy. Uneven. Scary. This haircut is called Keanu Reeves at midnight. Words that come to my mind instantly. Tan lines. Mushroom. Surprise. So if I built those out, expanded the list, I started connecting them to come up with unique connections, different ideas. I would name this haircut Crispy Portobello Unboxing. I don't know. That's where I'd come up with, right? So now what we've got is we've got a list. These lists fall into one of 3 categories. Good. Getting there. Go away. We've got good ideas now. They help us actually make progress. We can start, not just get them out on paper, now we can start cleaning them up and figuring out which of these will actually help us solve the problems we're trying to solve. When you're coming up with ideas, don't forget brainstorming is supposed to be about lateral thinking, shallow, not deep, lots of ideas. Get them all out on paper and then start filtering them. Clean them up so your list is pretty refined. And at the very end of this, take the top 10% and say, those are good ideas. We can run with those. Take the next 15% and say, those are going to help us get there. Those are nice. Dump the rest. You can't have too many ideas here. If you don't refine them and filter them, you're not going to end up with good stuff at the end. But hopefully if you follow this step, this process, you'll end up discovering that, okay, I actually have a methodical way of generating new ideas. Hopefully great ideas that at the end of the day will help you solve problems more creatively with less boundaries. All right, I'm out. I'm feeling especially encouraged to give myself an at-home haircut. It certainly can't be worse than those that we just saw. So if it's good, I'll see you next week. If not, I'll see you in about a month. All right. Thanks, jerks.